I personally invest in good growth stock mutual funds. I spread it across four types: growth and income, growth, aggressive growth, and international. And I buy mutual funds that have at least a 10-year track record. Let's talk about those for a second, because there's all kinds of names for mutual funds, and the name of the mutual fund tells you what is in the fund. Okay? A growth and income fund is also called a large cap fund, or sometimes also called a blue chip fund. Now, the blue chip is the most expensive chip on the poker table, so that means these are big companies in this. Large cap is short for large capitalization. Large capitalization means these are large companies. And so your growth and income funds are large companies. Boring. Of the four types of mutual funds that I put money into and I recommend, this is the calmest. If you were to chart this volatility on this fund versus the stock market, you would see it's a lot calmer than the market. And so it's your friend when things are going down, in other words. It's your stable. It's the big old dinosaur companies. They're boring. When things are going up, by the way, it's also boring. It's not exciting when things are going up. It's a downer. You look at that thing going, why is it not doing well when the rest of the market's going up? Because it goes slower than the market up and slower than the market down, because this is stable land. Stable land. A growth fund is right in the middle. The S&P 500 index fund would be considered a growth fund. A growth fund is companies that are growing. They're kind of medium-sized companies, so you might hear it called mid-cap fund. And so, these are just standard growth stock mutual funds. There's a whole lot of these out there. Ton of funds that fall in this area. So the idea is pretty simple. The growth fund, that's kind of right there in the middle. You want something in the middle when it's pretty much going to do about what the market does in terms of volatility, but you can get mutual funds that are growth stock mutual funds that outperform the S&P 500. You can even get growth and income funds, even though they're not as volatile, that outperform the S&P 500. Then there's the aggressive growth fund. This is the wild brother, okay? It's the crazy one. And so you might guess it's going to be also called a small cap funds. These are the small companies, the startups. A lot of tech companies would fall into there. Very crazy. All the fun, weird stuff is in there. And that means some of it fails and goes to zero. And so it's a crazier mix. It's going to be much more volatile than the stock market is. So it's going to go up faster than the market goes up, but it's going to go down faster than the market goes down. Small cap, aggressive growth stock mutual funds, also known in there as let's see, small cap, aggressive growth. Oh, emerging market, you would call it that too as well. International funds means that the stocks in it are overseas companies. They're not American companies. It has a kissing cousin called a global fund. If you think of a globe, what is it? It's everything. So that would have international and U.S. companies in a global fund, and it would be a cousin to an international. By the way, American companies generally outperform other international companies by and large as a group, and so your international fund will be your worst performing of the four over the last several decades. And a global fund will outperform an international fund because you put some spice in there, you put some American companies in there usually. And so they're a little bit better. But at least you got some stuff overseas. You're not 100% betting on the American economy. Not that I'm anti-American. I am not. This is not a patriotic thing. This is a diversification thing. And so, you want to have some BMW and some Mercedes in there. You want to have some LG and some other stuff. Even though some of those things are made stateside, those are foreign companies. And so you look for, companies that are overseas based, could be a French company, could be whatever, that are in an international fund. And then you spread your investing across those four types. Very simple here. Very simple. The thing is, do it. That's the thing. Everybody talks and talks and talks and talks and talks about investing. The problem is nobody does it. The people we talk to on the Millionaire Theme Hour that are millionaires, you know how they got to be millionaires? They did it.